Welcome to the Roll Call Podcast. It is a special Saturday edition. We got hit pretty hard here in the Northeast. Power and internet service is down pretty much all over the area. We finally just got it restored. So thank you for being with us. I'm Joe McGuire along with Lucas Baldock and JJ Vargas. The Yankees lost last night to the Tampa Bay Rays 1-0, and we'll get into that game because let's face it, this team had gotten off to a pretty hot start. Last couple of days, we haven't seen as productive a team, and I think this is a striking statistic that I'd like to talk about right off the top here. The Yankees have scored their runs 66.2% of the time via the home run. Now, no one is shocked by this number, but 43 out of 65 is an exceptionally high number, and I want to say that that's just because they hit such a barrage of homers to start the season. I don't know how sustainable two-thirds of your runs are coming via the home run, especially come playoff time, especially when you're going to be probably facing a team like the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Yankees have not done well at the Trop of late. They're 0-4 in their last 4 games. They've scored 2 runs with a 115 batting average, 52 strikeouts in that time. They've been shut out 4 times in the last 138 regular season games. Remember, they had like a stretch of almost 300, but 3 of those 4 have been at Tropicana Field. So Tampa Bay, we know they're a good young team. We know they don't have a whole bunch of big hitting stars, but that pitching is pretty good. We saw it again last night. We'll see it again today. JJ, what is the Yankees' problem when it comes to the Tampa Bay Rays?
Well, I think you nailed it. I think that their starting pitching is really good, and I think especially led with Blake Snell. This guy is exceptional, man. To me, I got him potentially top 5, top 7 pitcher at the moment. In the league. I really like his stuff. He's really big on the curveball, and it shows. He throws it a lot, and we seem to have trouble catching up with it, which is unfortunate for us, especially when, as you mentioned, a lot of our points this season are coming off the long ball, which reminds me about a couple years ago when that was kind of like our current trend, and then it wasn't until we got DJ LeMahieu that we kind of started balancing out the way that we were scoring in the runs with base hits and doubles and all that kind of scoring that way. And it does bring me to worry a bit for our team because, like you mentioned, in the postseason, you're going to have to find other ways to score runs when the long ball isn't there. Now, the saying, the chicks love the long ball, that is true, and it will always be true because it's beautiful to watch. But one thing that doesn't go good is losing games. And when I see this team that's capable of putting up 5, 6, 7 runs get shut out yesterday, it's definitely, it's a small sample size. We don't get shut out very often, but it's something that the team has to look at and fix sooner than later.
Lucas, this team is off to a 9-3 start. Giancarlo Stanton looks good. The issue with this team right now, outside of Gary Sanchez and Gleyber Torres struggling, is the fact that the starting rotation has been, what's the right word for it? The starting rotation's been a mess outside of anybody who's not Garrett Cole. It's an issue for the Yankees, although last night I thought Masahiro Tanaka answered that bell with JJ, before we went live, called it kind of a wasted start, but I at least see someone else in that rotation stepping up. I think James Paxton is going to be fine. What do you think the Yankees have to do at this point? Is there anyone else internally, a Chad Green? Do they look at the young guns? What are your thoughts here, Lucas?
Well, yeah, so I thought Tanaka yesterday, he looked excellent. Obviously, it wasn't his fault. His first time out, he couldn't go that long. I think he went 3 innings his first game, but he was coming off of a concussion. And then obviously we don't have Luis Severino this season. And then I think at the moment, outside of Tanaka and Garrett Cole, James Paxton has looked very messy. He can't seem to command his cutter's been kind of off. I mean, he's given up a lot of runs. I think he had a 27 ERA after his first game, and he cut it down to 14 or 13 and a half. And so he's got to look better because he's a borderline ace, and that's why we traded for him. And then
I would say what. Sorry.
No, keep going. Keep going.
What I was gonna say, what concerns me more about Paxton besides the earned runs is his velocity. I feel like he still hasn't topped out at 95, 96 for the season. I think he's averaging 92, 93 on the fastball. And that's something that, the Yankees have to keep an eye on because they are going to depend on him at the 2-hole, when it comes to this rotation, Lucas.
Yeah. And someone else, I think Jordan Montgomery, he looked good in his first start. He did not look good in his second. But I think that's someone who we saw, especially over summer camp, that can go out there and, he struck out Pete Alonso twice, and Pete Alonso is one of the best hitters in the league. I think he can go out there. I think he has that stuff where he can pitch a great game. But someone I really don't like is Jay Happ. I can't stand watching him pitch. It's like every pitch I worry, is this going to go over the fence for a home run? I think either he needs to, he's a veteran. He's like 36, 38. He needs to get his stuff together and figure it out and, get his ERA down in the low fours would even be fine by me. But if that doesn't happen, I think a trade or maybe like Joe said, an internal call-up of one of the young guys might be happening.
Now, last season, Joe and I have mentioned multiple times throughout last year's season that Chad Green opened up a number of games last year, and I think that maybe having him as an opener should be a option that the Yankees explore.
Chad Green's numbers this season, he's faced 26 hitters. He's allowed 1 hit, 1 walk. It was intentional with 11 strikeouts. If anybody is making a case for why he should be starting, I'm pretty sure it's this guy. You see Happ there with a 10.29, Paxton a 13.50, and I believe Montgomery is right now sitting at a 5.59. Yeah, listen, Masahiro Tanaka was outstanding last night. Matter of fact, we got a little bit of video. Why don't we check out Masahiro Tanaka's performance in Tampa Bay?
Control this delivery is.
Filthy.
8th pitch of the at-bat coming. And it's a strikeout.
Look at that filth.
We'd have left-handed and right-handed, but I was not able to do it. I am so left-handed at everything I do in life. Kind of went downhill. The season was canceled. It brought back weird memories just looking at that Tampa St.
Look at
Petersburg
that slider.
area.
Come on.
Wow. That's a thing for a starting pitcher. Swing and a miss. 13 in a row for Masahiro Tanaka.
So I think you got to feel good seeing Tanaka throw like that. That's about as good as we have seen Tanaka throw in a really long time. I'd be curious to see what happens with somebody like maybe a Debbie Garcia getting a shot at this point, maybe Clark Schmidt, Michael King. They've got so many of these young guys that I think would at least warrant a start. I wonder how many more Happ gets if that continues. Montgomery, I already assume there's a short string there with him. Now, the loss last night is the first time in Yankees history where they lost a game when their starter went 5 scoreless innings or more and allowed 1 or fewer base runners. The first time that's ever happened. Ever. By the way,
to your point about the starting pitching and about David Garcia possibly getting a chance, what makes the season tricky is the fact that there's only 60 games. And in a 162-game season, you're more open to trying this, trying that. But, there's a really fine line in this particular season that we're going through this year where you can't really take those gambles because you're not really sure what you're going to get. But, to Lucas's credit, Jay Happ hasn't looked too great. So maybe one of those risks are worth taking at this particular moment.
Masahiro Tanaka, and again, I think this guy gets knocked a lot by Yankee fans who want him, like everyone else, to be undefeated all through the season. Since 2015, only 5 pitchers have made more starts than his 143, and only one of the Yankees made more than 90. That's CC Sabathia with 137. So the Yankees really do rely very heavily on Masahiro Tanaka. I get that he's streaky. A lot of guys are. But we know when it's the biggest time and the biggest moment and the biggest game, that's the guy you always want on the mound.
I will say that most Yankee fans, when fully healthy, would expect Tanaka to be the number 3 behind Cole and Severino when healthy. I think a lot of people like Paxton, but given if we had to go a game 1 starter between Paxton and Tanaka, I will feel that most Yankee fans would want Tanaka on the mound. Do you think?
I agree.
Oh, I would hope so.
Yeah,
By the way,
that's not to knock James Paxton, but Tanaka just seems to be the more proven commodity, especially in a Yankee uniform.
He's done it for a really long time. I mean, he certainly earned it. I mean, James Paxton really kind of earned the 2 spot more by reputation. Certainly had a good run last year, but when it came down to it, I think Tanaka was and is still the better pitcher. And I think if it came down to you're only re-signing one of these guys after the season, I would think it would be Masahiro Tanaka.
Absolutely.
Yankees are 14-2 in their last 16 doubleheaders, so if it feels like every time they play 2, they win them both, you're not wrong. Obviously, the split in Philadelphia was a little bit disappointing, but I think all in all, 12 straight games to open the season with a home run. We obviously talked about their reliance on the long ball, but how about the bullpen? Can we talk about how great this bullpen is? And mind you, this past week, we know Tommy Kahnle actually underwent a successful Tommy John surgery. He's already actually had the surgery. Recovering time begins. And, you could be like, well, same old, just like last year, all the injuries. This time, though, the Yankees get quite a boost back in the form of a missile named Aroldis Chapman. He will be back quite shortly. I know, JJ, we've talked about the way Chapman looks in this offseason. I don't know what this dude was doing, but he's absolutely jacked. I can imagine COVID didn't have much of a chance when it came to facing off with the Cuban Missile.
Yeah, when it was a battle between COVID and the missile definitely won for sure, And anybody who follows Chapman on social media saw that he was very actively training throughout the whole delayed season. He was in the backyard pitching with his friends, and anybody who sees the transformation in his body, he just looks second best to CC Sabathia, who's not even playing right now. I don't think anybody could compete with CC in the bodybuilding throughout the COVID. He's just undergone such a transformation. But, getting Aroldis Chapman back is for sure a huge addition for the Yankees moving into the season.
Yeah.
What do you got, Lucas?
I was just going to say getting Chapman back with the loss of Kahnle especially is going to be really helpful for an already amazing Yankees bullpen. I mean, Britton's looked great. He stepped right into the closing role. Chad Green, of course. Chad Green's one of my favorite Yankees. I mean, look at that. Look.
Yeah, just threw a picture on. I call it jacked Chapman because, my goodness gracious. I mean, look, he struggled a little bit hitting 100 last year, and I like to think that guy's going to have no trouble dialing it back up to 103, 104 like he does.
I remember when he was in
Listen, if I
hit 107 on the radar gun, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that guy looks like he could do it again.
If I'm at a bar fight, I want to Aroldis Chapman to be on my side because that guy is built, man.
Oh yeah, man. So, Lucas, as you mentioned, Britton, 5 out of 5 saves. 4th time in Yankees history. Somebody recorded 5 saves in the first 11 games, tying Wetland and Mariano Rivera. He did earn his 150th career save. Talking about Chad Green now, 33 scoreless relief appearances of at least 2 innings or more since 2017. That is the 4th most in all of baseball. Also, Luis Avilan versus lefties this year has faced 8 of them. He's allowed 1 walk, and he has struck out 5 out of the 8 batters he has faced. This bullpen just has so many good arms in it. And again, as sad as we are to see Tommy Kahnle go, we know how good Tommy Kahnle can be. I think this bullpen is going to be quite all right. And again, I think when you look at all the arms down in the minor leagues, you have to ask yourself, how bad are things really?
Right. I mean, I think
you know what
Sorry. I was just gonna say I think we should give Clark Schmidt the call pretty soon because I'd love to see him pitching in the actual MLB game.
All right, JJ.
Yeah.
I think we have to have this serious conversation right now. DJ LeMahieu. I'm not sure he's even the best player on the Yankees, but he's certainly been the most valuable. He finished 4th in the voting last year. Many would argue he probably should have been the MVP. Unlike Mike Trout, he actually was in the postseason. Again,
it's not looking too good for him this season, too.
Yeah, no kidding. LeMahieu, here he is doing what DJ LeMahieu does.
With the Cubs. High fly ball, deep right field. Harper back, track, wall, see ya. A home run for LeMahieu. And the hits just keep on coming for the Yankees. It is 1-0.
Well, you're looking at a great team that's hot right now, too, and that's even double trouble for the Phillies. And LeMahieu, as he did in Baltimore the other night, leadoff home run. Yanks on, but again, his style of hitting is going to play anywhere. Hit the ball where it's pitched.
I mean, he's so good, just so good. And, of course, don't forget
with arbitration.
The glove.
Oh, nice play by LeMahieu. Over to Voit.
Baller.
Retire Walker.
Just a straight-up baller. At what point
in the
do the
fourth,
Yankees
as the Phillies
offer
go down
this
in
guy
1, 2, 3.
a contract extension? Because, man, he's done after this year. I would imagine I think this guy's worked himself into at least an $18 to $20 million a year contract. I know he's not exactly a young guy of 32, but I think he can fetch himself a 4-year deal in the $18 to $20 million mark. I hope the Yankees do something about it. He's hitting .429 right now and as clutch as ever, and he's the Yankees' best leadoff hitter, I would say, since Ricky Henderson.
Yeah,
that's some good company. And, I like your case for him as MVP, but honestly, my MVP right now for the Yankees is Aaron Judge. I think that, even going back to that MVP season that he had, he has started out better this year than he did in that particular season. Right now he has a 1.099 OPS with 7 home runs, and it's easy to say that he's one of the best players in the league right now. And if he continues on that trend, there's no way that he could get snubbed for the MVP like he did when Altuve snubbed him for it. Just can't see it happening. He's too valuable. He's too good. He's making all the plays on the field. I can see the fear in the eyes of all these pitchers are throwing balls at him, man. He's just so good. He's locked in right now.
It's funny that you say he's locked in because I know he said to the media that he wasn't even close to being locked in, which is scary.
Lucas, here, I've got it.
Like when you're locked in like that.
Not locked in yet. I'm still trying to find that. That's the daily grind of baseball is, searching for that, that locked in feeling.
Look at the smile on him, man. Who knows what he's saying?
Oh my God. Wait till he gets locked in.
That's what I'm saying. It kind of reminds me, not to switch sports and stuff, but I remember halfway through the year last year, Patrick Mahomes came out with a statement saying, "Oh yeah, I just started learning how to read defenses like a couple months ago." And I'm just like, dude, you're an MVP and you threw 50 touchdowns the year before and you're just learning. So it's like seeing a guy like Judge slugging right now saying that he's still not locked in yet. That's beautiful news for Yankees right there.
Yeah, we can only hope he gets locked in. 20 of his 33 home runs since the start of 2019 have given the Yankees a lead. The Major League average is 31%. So, again, if you feel like every time Aaron Judge crushes a homer, it puts the Yankees up, you're not wrong. Of course, he went on an absolute tear. Here was one of the big moments.
To wear down.
Oh my goodness! Aaron Judge has done it again! Homers in 5 straight! Santa Maria!
I got a whole bunch of Santa Maria texts that night from my Red Sox fan friends. That was fun. Matt Vescursion lost his mind on that, by the way. Lost his mind.
And Matty,
he doesn't even like second. So that was That was 5 straight games, and then here's where against the Phillies he made it 7 in 6 games.
Drill deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
Little anticlimactic.
For Judge, a 3-run shot. And just like that, his 7th home run of the year, and the Yankees are trailing 11-7.
I'll tell you what, if you're going to pitch Aaron Judge in, you better get it in.
You better get it in if you try to go inside on Aaron Judge. Blake Snell said this about Aaron Judge. He's always trying to smile at me. When he gets in there, I don't look at him because for some reason, every time he looks at me and laughs, I have to laugh. And I don't like that. Aaron Judge is also using psychological warfare against the rest of baseball with that big smile. It's hard not to like this guy. And like JJ said, while I think right now maybe the better hitter and the more productive guy still seems to be DJ LeMahieu, there's just something about Aaron Judge that's larger than life. I do think there's so many. He has such a. Here's the thing about Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter was so business, right? He always had the right answer. I think the difference between him and Aaron Judge is that Aaron Judge actually has a funner personality.
I agree. For sure.
I agree too.
You know, and a lot of that, you know, not only by his interviews, he has told he has a more outgoing demeanor, but I remember in his rookie year, he came out with that snippet for the Yankee fans where he wore a pair of fake glasses and he was asking all the fans, hey, do you know who this guy is? And it was Aaron Judge, and people didn't know who the hell he was yet. Little did they know that he was going to be the MVP, that he had a chance of being the MVP later that year. You know, and when people found out, they just couldn't believe it. And I don't understand. The dude's like 6'7". How do you not tell that's him? But nonetheless, it just shows how engaging he is with the fans and how charismatic he is, not only with fans, but around the league.
Now, we do have to talk about, and I don't agree with this in any way, shape, or form, but the topic comes up. I hear idiots saying stuff all the time about this. Is Gary Sanchez a problem? And I was just on Keys to the City yesterday talking about this. You know, there is some thought about whether the Yankees may eventually have to move off this guy, move him to a different position. I'm going to tell you 3 things about Gary Sanchez that explain a lot. Number 1, Gary Sanchez is a gas hitter. You could tell that because sometimes he swings at garbage, and you can't figure out why he would do that. He was guessing. He was sitting on something. That's what Gary Sanchez does. That usually works fine to the tune of about 35 home runs a year. Now, when Gary first came up, he was a 270, 275 hitter, and we were hoping that's what he would be. Well, he's not. He's like a 200 hitter, and that's awful. Nobody likes that. But I see other catchers on other teams who don't hit 35 home runs, who aren't much better handlers of pitchers than Gary is behind the plate, or has nearly the arm or release that Gary has from behind the plate. So I guess my question would be, if Gary Sanchez didn't have the kind of start he did back in 2015, if he had always just been like a 210, 220 hitter and did all the things that he did, would anybody have any reason to complain about Gary Sanchez, who, by the way, had to learn a new catching style this year, has received rave reviews from Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka? So any suggestion that Gary Sanchez has to go or is letting the team down in some way, shape, or form, that is a absolutely ludicrous thought. And I think if you look around the league, you'll see there's a lot of guys struggling right now. Christian Yelich, for instance. Acuna Jr. down in Atlanta. There's a lot of guys, and Andrew Benintendi's been awful. I don't hear anyone else on any other team suggesting any of these guys should be traded or, even better, sent to the minors. I mean, what kind of idiotic take is that? And by the way, the laziest take that there is calling Gary Sanchez lazy. That means you haven't looked at any of the numbers. You don't know what you're talking about. That's my defense of Gary Sanchez. Anybody want to jump in?
Listen, you don't become one of the top catchers with the nickname the Kraken if you were a bad player in this league. You know, he's more than capable of getting hot, and when he's hot, there's no catcher that's as hot as he is. I don't see many base runners trying to steal their way to seconds because they know that this guy pops up like a whack-a-mole and could throw a baseball to second around 85, 86 miles per hour. You know, like, that's pretty fast. You know, I don't think any other catcher in the league can do that. And, you know, we just got to have patience with him because we do know what his potential is and what he is at his best. And, you know, like I said, be patient, man. It's still early. He'll get hot.
I think at this point, we kind of know what we have in Gary Sanchez. You know, he's a fantastic power hitter. But like Joe said, he does guess, which is fine. I mean, there's other, like, catchers around the league typically don't have the type of power that Gary Sanchez has. They're usually very poor hitters in the 190s, low 200s. And I mean, Gary gets his average in the 230s, which isn't great, but it's not as bad as it could be. And I think once he catches fire and starts hitting balls 480 feet like he knows how to, no one will be complaining anymore.
Gary Sanchez is 26, Joe. 26, 27, around there. Mm-hmm. So, you know, 1 year, he's hitting well, but he's not fielding well. Now he's fielding well and he's not hitting well. Well, give the man a little chance to grow a little bit, you know, and he'll become a well-balanced hitter. You already know when he hits, he can hit you almost 40 home runs. And when he's on defense, nobody's getting past him. So, patience. Can't get it all 1 year.
Yeah, it's very true what you just said, JJ. You know, look, everybody complained that the guy struggled behind the plate, and he worked to become a better catcher. And he's a better blocker. He's a better framer this year, so just an overall better handler. And he still hits bombs, and people are like, well, can you get your batting average up to 290? Like, oh, my God. This guy's got to do more stuff than anybody else. And you know what? He doesn't get to spend the kind of time on his hitting that he would like to. Mm-hmm. And thus, you're stuck with what you got. Again, if he was any other catcher in baseball, you would be thrilled to death to get that kind of production. The whole thing is like so unbelievably ludicrous. I can't. I really can't. It upsets me. I feel like Yankee fans sometimes are so unbelievably delusional. Again, this kid was 21 years old when he came up to the majors. The Yankees don't do that. They saw a lot in this kid. And here's the other thing, guys, and tell me if I'm wrong, and I find this rather striking. Nobody in Yankees management, neither Aaron Boone nor any of the people named Steinbrenner nor Brian Cashman, has suggested in any way, shape, or form that they're not happy with Gary Sanchez. Nobody. This is all media and fan-driven, plain and simple.
I call it nitpicking by the fanboys.
Yeah. I can't think it's anything more than like, well, you know, to be fair, I mean, he could hit 300, and it's like, oh, my God, guys, really? I don't get that at all. It's upsetting. Equally upsetting. Go ahead, JJ, what do you got?
I was just going to say that, you know, he hasn't hit 300 in his best season, so why would anybody assume that that's what he should average? It's like you got to let the guy a chance to get there, and then with consistency, if he stays a 300 hitter, then you should expect it. But if he's never even reached that milestone, then why do you have unrealistic expectations for the man? That's my point. You know, a guy that I see taking a lot of heat lately too, especially after he had a hot start, was Giancarlo Stanton. You know, I was reading a few articles and people wanted to nitpick because, you know, he hasn't hit a home run since he started out hot. Well, I looked up a couple numbers that I wanted to share with our fans, you know, about Giancarlo's. You know, his chase rate has actually improved despite the latest slump. His chase rate is usually at a 27.8, which the MLB averages a 28.2. And during the season right now is a 19.8, which means that he's not swinging and missing on a lot of pitches that he shouldn't have. Also, his whiff rate has improved from a 34% to a 27.8. Again, smarter at bats. He's also made contacts with 82.9% of the strike zone swings, which is higher than his 76.7 percentage average. You know, sure, he's not hitting home runs, but he's also not costing us games. So I know people love Giancarlo for the power that he brings to the lineup. You know, people get caught up in the 59 home run MVP season that he had back in 2017, if I'm correct. But it's early in the season. I think patience is the word that people need to wait. Yeah, we won a lot of games early, but everybody knows that in the MLB, you don't go on these extremely long win streaks like you could in NFL and the NBA. It's hard. It's hard to hit a baseball sometimes. It's the hardest thing to do in sports.
Yeah.
Now, one other controversial bit that happened since we last did an episode, Miguel Andujar got sent packing. Now, I understand Miguel did not get off to a great start. He was struggling. He made a couple of errors. And I understand the leash on him was kind of short, which I don't necessarily agree with, because my thought is, why does Aaron Hicks get to struggle through it? Why does Gleyber Torres get to struggle through it? Why does Gary Sanchez get to struggle through it? But Miggy gets sent.
Well, I have an answer for you, at least in the regards of Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks just signed a 7-year, $70 million extension. You got to play the guy.
You're saying this is money related?
This is, I mean, partially. You know, you if you pay somebody, you're expecting to see them on the field, and so does your fan base. You know, Miguel Andujar is coming off the injury, and you know, stay tuned for my latest blog because I'm writing on this. But Gio Urshela is here to stay. Gio took his place, and Miggy, all he had to do is just prove that he can stay on the roster, and with the errors that he's made and the struggling at bats that he's had, Gio took it, and he's not giving it up.
Yeah, I would say not. I mean, he's definitely seems to hit his first grand slam. He's off to a good start. Any suggestion or
grand slams are always awesome, but they're not valued the same. When you hit a home run in a series where you sweep the Red Sox, it counts a little more. I'm just saying that.
I'll give you that for sure. Absolutely, man. Here, James Yevon from Life in Pinstripes podcast just chimed in. Miguel Andujar didn't get enough at-bats in order to get productive again. That's what I'm saying, James, right? I just feel like they could have found a way to get this guy's bat in the lineup, give him a chance to hit. Brett Gardner's 3 for 20 with 3 homers, which is so weird.
When he does hit, though, he hit home runs.
Yeah. Tyler Bard, Baseball with the Bard podcast. Hey, Joe, what are your thoughts on Gary Sanchez? That's very funny. Obviously, I've already expounded on my thoughts on Gary Sanchez, but that's good. No, antagonize me. That's what you want. Here's the thing. Bottom line is the Yankees are 9-3, okay? And Miguel Andujar is going to go down on the farm and work on his swing. And I can promise everybody right now, especially the non-Yankee fans that are listening, that maybe you're having a little fun with that thought, the idea that Miguel Andujar is down on the farm. He's going to get better because he's a hard worker. And at some point, he's going to come back up, and he's going to start tearing the cover off the ball. And you're going to wish that never happened.
Again, I think it comes back to an embarrassment of riches. You know, when we can have guys like Miguel Andujar and Clint Frazier down there, it's a luxury to have players like that, you know, that we could call up on in the time where we may need them.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with Joe. I think Andujar can and will get back to the player we first saw when he first came up and started playing games for the Yankees. I think the guy's capable. I think he's, like Joe said, he's a hard worker. I have no doubt that he'll go down there and have a vengeance to get back in the Yankees lineup.
Luke Voit hit a bomb. I just want to play it because, well, it's Luke Voit.
So here's Luke Voit, did not play in the first game. Boom. And that one is drilled deep to left field.
He does that
there
hippity
it
hop.
Goes. See ya. Oh, what a shot by Voit. It is 1-0 Yanks.
He's a beast. I love watching this guy hit. I love when he does the hop. Again, anybody who isn't sure about Luke Voit, I don't know what more this guy can do.
Well, you called it, Michael. That was an absolute blast.
whenever he's in the lineup, he produces. I mean, it just when he's not hurt, and I know he's been banged up here and there a little bit. When he's in the lineup, Luke Voit is a very productive player.
Yeah, that's one of those kind of diamonds in the rough that Brian Cashman is able to find via trade, and he does that a lot. And I mean, I don't think anyone when we first traded for Luke Voit would have thought he'd be our everyday first baseman. But I mean, because obviously back then there was a lot of high hope for Greg Bird, but Luke Voigt's, he's turned himself into a fantastic power hitter. I think he probably was always a fantastic power hitter, just never got the chance to show it. And I think, like you said, Joe, he's a very productive hitter, and when he's in the lineup and healthy, I'll take him over a lot of first basemen in this league.
Yeah, I think that his power definitely shows off at Yankee Stadium, and I have mutual thoughts with Luke Voit like I do Gio Urshela. I think that he is also here to stay. Not only does he bring a great bat to this lineup, but I think he's also great in the dugout with his team. He showed such a willingness to be a team player when he gave his number 45 to Garrett Cole and decided to wear the number that I believe his brother used to wear, which is what is he wearing now? 57, if I want to say, or I can't remember, 59. So even little small things like that just shows how much of a team guy he is, and this team loves him, and I love him too. It's Mr. Big Chest. That's my guy.
We do love Mr. Big Chest, and he has certainly endeared himself to Yankee fans since he's been there. And as you said, Lucas, I mean, an absolute steal. He was just blocked at his position in St. Louis, and man, what a trade that turned out to be for the New York Yankees. Now, in Philadelphia, and we know how Philadelphia fans can be. They're the worst. They're just bad human beings. So these idiots, you see this group of Phillies fans, they decided to go stand outside the stadium in this open fenced areas. You can see right into the ballpark. And while Jordan Montgomery was pitching, these idiots were blowing off an air horn. And so Aaron Boone, being the manager of the Yankees, said, hey, what the heck's up with that? And was told there was nothing they could do because the fans were not inside the stadium. Now, they probably could have put something in front of that so they couldn't do it every time Montgomery went to take a pitch. But my favorite part is, and it just goes to show what a bunch of classless losers they are in Philadelphia, they started calling in radio shows to bash Aaron Boone. This is how stupid people in Philadelphia are. Because what do you think's going to happen when your guys are pitching and other teams' fans start blowing air horns? See, exactly. Philadelphia fans don't think because they're all stupid.
Listen, Philly fans, I know you guys want to be the wannabe Yankees. You guys want to take our ex-manager Giardi and get our ex-shortstop Didi Gregorius, but you will never be us, and I'm sorry. You cannot be Big Brother. So just stay where you're at. You got Bryce Harper. You guys will be a good team, but you guys just stay there because you guys are not going to win a championship as long as we're in the way.
Also, it's a second-rate city. I mean, let's be honest. It sucks, and I understand why Philly fans would be angry and bitter. But grow up, for crying out loud. Like, I mean, come on. They're Major League Baseball players. What is your role in this as a Phillies fan? What is your role? I mean, for anybody who wanted to complain about the Houston Astros, I mean, what are the fans doing right now? Is that productive to the game, or does that hurt the game? Also, your hitter has to hit while you're blowing an air horn. Morons.
Yeah, it's just I don't see what they have to gain from it at all. All you do is look like a dill hole on TV.
Yep.
You know what it is? I just hate trash fans, and unfortunately for Philadelphia, that's all they got.
Whether it be trash Philly fans or Eagles fans, yeah, they're the worst. I'm not sure we'll get a little backlash from our Philly fans, but
we don't have Philly fans because Philly fans are garbage and they're not fans of anything. They just hate things less. Like they don't hate the Eagles. They don't hate the Phillies. Okay? Well, they do, just to a lesser degree than they hate other things. People in Philadelphia struggle to be happy. And I understand that. I mean, not for nothing, but even the Philly cheesesteak, right? It's not even real cheese. It's sad. It's sad. It really is a sad thing. And you know, I don't know. I don't know why I'm just bashing Philadelphia now. Honest to God, I actually like the city. I've been to it a few times, and I actually really like Philly cheesesteaks. But don't be an idiot and stop blowing your air horns, Philly fans.
You bash us, we bash you.
That was an unnecessary rampage by me for absolutely no reason. That's how upset these idiot fans make me. All right, so the Yankees do have a doubleheader today against the Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah, Tyler, you understand. Even as a Patriots fan, they don't like the Philly fans. I'm not trying to encourage that behavior anymore, people. We're moving on from insulting. We're moving on from insulting now. This is the matchup for today, and I'll tell you what. I think it's going to be a good one. Garrett Cole, 3-0 with a 2.55 ERA, facing Tyler Glasnow, who I believe just got back and made. I think he's only made 1 or 2 starts this season. It's going to be a great matchup. Obviously, you're talking about 2 of the absolute best starting pitchers in the American League. The really cool part is Garrett Cole is going for his 20th consecutive win. This dates back to May 27th, 2019. I mean, the guy's so unbelievably dominant. It's, I believe, the 6th longest streak in Major League history. I think he's closing, the record's 26, and I could certainly see him getting there. As long as the Yankees can score a run. Gonna need to score today, boys. And then in Game 2, it looks like both teams are going bullpen game.
Yeah. And I think we will pick up the win today. You know, this team seems very motivated every time that Garrett Cole's on the mound. And how can you not be? You know, he's going to do his part. Like you said, he's won 20 straight at the moment, and he's just going to continue going as long as we help him out. But it's just something about the Trop, man. I really hate that part, especially when you hit a nice high ball and then it hits one of those things in the roof. Oh, man.
And JJ, doesn't it feel like every series they have one stupid time where they hit every time?
Hit the speaker or one of those metal poles in the top. Something always happens. And, you know, for the last couple of years, I know a lot of Yankee fans, our dead rivals are the Red Sox to the death. But the Rays in the last few years have definitely made noise as rivals in the division as well. And we should not take them lightly, not even any games.
Just for fun, let's make a prediction on Cole's performance today. Tyler Bard says he goes 7. He gives up 2 hits. I assume that means there's 7 shutout innings. Lucas, what do you think? What do you think Garrett Cole does today, knowing that he's actually that they're going bullpen in Game 2, and knowing that these are 7-inning games?
You want a full line?
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go. I think he'll go 7 2/3. He'll give up 3 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts, and no run.
JJ?
I'm going to say he pitches 6, and I think he'll get 10 strikeouts.
Ooh.
Yeah, everybody's going nuts here. Yevon says 8 innings, a run, 13 strikeouts. Again, guys, I'm just going to point out, just because it's a 7-inning game. They're playing the doubleheader, so it'll be 7 innings.
Oh, that's right. I said 7.
Fair enough. Yeah, people are like, wait a minute, I want to take it back. I say he probably goes 6 like JJ. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to guess something like a 3-0 game. I do think in those 6 innings he'll have double-digit strikeouts, so either 10 or 11. I think he'll give up probably 3 base hits, possibly a run scores, maybe not. I'm going to say he shuts him out 3-0, and Britton pitches the 7th and locks it down. Robert says 6 innings, 9 Ks. I like that. Connor Valentine says 7 innings and nothing more than that. That's a pretty safe bet, Connor. Just keep it to innings. Yeah, Tyler says 7-inning shutout. I think everybody pretty much feels the same thing. Here's what no one said. 4 innings, 7 earned. No one is predicting that. And with good reason.
I think that Yankee fans really do love what Garrett Cole has displayed in the first 3 games. And how could we not? How could we not? We all, we got him right before Christmas, and we're all very excited, and we had to wait for him a long time until he played, and not disappointed at all. Not one bit.
It's rare somebody comes up and is just that outstandingly good and lives up to everything that you wanted them and thought that they would. And my goodness gracious, he's been all that and more. I mean, you couldn't have asked for more than what the New York Yankees have got from him. I mean, honestly, it's an amazingly satisfying feeling. All right, so mentioned Cole Glasnow in the first game. They will play a second. Both teams going doubleheader. Tomorrow, Yankees again slated for a 1:10 start in Tampa. It'll be James Paxton versus Charlie Morton. I will forever never understand why the Yankees didn't make a move on Morton 2 years ago when he was available, but I'll digress for now. They will have an off day on Monday, and then on Tuesday, the 11th, the New York Yankees will be back home to take on the Atlanta Braves. Jay Happ will get to start in that one. Wednesday on the mound will be Masahiro Tanaka versus Kyle Wright. And then we'll be back on Thursday when, once again, the New York Yankees, unless something has to be made up, will have an off day. So that's kind of what's going on. That's where they're at right now. Again, 9-3. You'll take that. That 7-game winning streak, I think you guys saw, was like the equivalent of a 16-game winning streak.
Yep.
The Yankees just have to win games. They have to continue to day in and day out battle. Yes, Tyler Paxton needs to get his act together. We definitely know that. I think this team's going to be fine. And again, you say it all the time, JJ, an embarrassment of riches. I think if the Yankees have to tap into the farm, I think they're going to be just as fine as can be expected. So I think this team's on fire right now, and I think it's only getting better.
I will say that I hope the Yankees as a team just stay safe while they're down in Tampa Bay, because we all know that Florida continues to be a hot state when it comes to the coronavirus pandemic. And we've seen how the St. Louis Cardinals are currently, they're shut down at least for a week, and they can't resume games until 7 days or something like that. So we just hope that our Yankees continue to practice social distancing and stay safe, because, we love our baseball, and the Yankees are the biggest pool when it comes to the MLB. And we need them. So I just hope they continue to be safe.
Such a passionate plea, JJ. I love that. And by the way, sir, happy birthday to our man, JJ Vargas. Roll call Jay on Twitter. Make sure you send him some love today. You can also check us out, clovercrestmedia.com/The Roll Call Podcast. You can join our Facebook group, The Roll Call Podcast. Hit us up on Twitter at The Roll Call Show. We're also on Instagram. Amber Sabathia likes us. It's the Roll Call Podcast. So,
and all I want for my birthday is 2 games won on a doubleheader. That's all I want.
2? Who asked for 2 wins on one day? That's amazing. But you're probably right. 14-2 in the last 16 doubleheaders. Let's win 2 for JJ today.
Let's go, boys.
Yankees. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. For the birthday boy, JJ Vargas, and our new guy, Lucas Balduck. I am Joe McGuire. Thank you so much for enjoying the Roll Call Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share.
Can I get a roll call? Rocks, bombers, let's get it up. Hit the field, let's play ball. Go my home, we stand tall.